In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, it looks like that we're live. I want to welcome everyone to today's Hangout. Chart your Udemy course in 2015. Here we are in January of 2015, and my name is Dennis Smith, and I am joined by Darling, Grant Weherley. Grant will be with us in just a moment. Matt Bernstein, Phil Ebiner, and Rob Cubbon. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me this morning. I appreciate Phil, you getting up at the ass crack of dawn.
No problem.
That's a saying here, I guess. Maybe it's an Idaho saying. I don't know. And Rob and Grant, where it's late, and then Diane and Matt, it's a decent hour in the morning. So. So I think we've got Grant coming back. So what I'm going to do to start off is that some of us have already been on the first Hangout, and we've got Diane and Phil are joining us. So we're just going to start off with Diane first, and just introduce yourself. Just tell us briefly a little bit about yourself, all right? And then we'll move on to Grant now that he's back. So let's start with Diane first.
Well, the main thing I do is I'm a professional speaker. I go to conferences. I talk about networking. I talk about entrepreneurship. You'll see at the bottom there on occasions I speak about football. I teach people how to watch American football. 'Tis the season. We've got 2 more weeks. And I just came back from Atlanta. I'm leaving to Texas next week to work with about 150 doctors who do amazing work treating cancer.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Grant, welcome back. We'll go ahead just do a brief introduction of yourself for those who might be joining us, or I know that you were with us last time, so go ahead and let us know some about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Grant Weherley, best-selling Udemy instructor, and I'm a full-time self-employed entrepreneur who's currently in Thailand, kind of traveling around, mobile lifestyle, and I also do a lot of work helping other people grow and expand their businesses, and also get started in entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah, I know that you're having a good time over there from your Facebook feed. So, Matt, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Matt Bernstein from Boston, Massachusetts, and I mostly focus on ways that people can make money doing it with very low upfront costs. So, for instance, selling on eBay, becoming a Udemy instructor, creating content, and I just kind of wanted to prove that you don't need a lot of money to make money, and I'm a full-time entrepreneur, and thanks to Udemy and creating content, I'm able to afford all my expenses and more.
Awesome. Hey, let us know what your website is, too, since we're having problems with the bottom of our video.
You can find me on Udemy, just search Matt Bernstein.
Okay, sounds good. Welcome. Go ahead and tell us some about yourself, although I'm sure a lot of people know who you are.
Hey, was that a question for me, Dennis?
It was.
Hey, everyone. My name is Phil Ebiner. I'm really excited to be here talking with you guys. I've been on Udemy for a couple years now. I started out as a video producer, and I still actually, I guess I'm one of the only ones that still has a full-time job here. I work at UC Berkeley doing video production, and on the side I create a ton of video courses on Udemy related to everything from video editing, motion graphics, Photoshop design, but also fun stuff like brewing beer and how to adopt a cat and just kind of things that I like to do. So it's been a wild ride so far, and as you can see, you can check out more and find out more about me at videoschoolonline.com.
Did you say brewing beer?
Brewing beer, yes.
All right, Matt, we got to go visit him.
Done.
I got some in the fridge right now. Come on over.
Okay. Oh, go ahead and start right now then. Hey, my friend Rob, back in Thailand, right?
Yeah. Do you want my introduction?
Please.
Yeah, my name is Rob Cubbon. I used to be a graphic art worker, which is somebody who did very menial jobs in graphic design in London. I used to commute on a tube train and go to very boring work. And I luckily started a website and started my own business as a graphic and web design business, which I still do. But more recently, I've been more focused on creating digital products such as ebooks, video courses, and of course, Udemy is a big part of that.
Awesome. And I just want to remind everyone just that we are all in different time zones and different places, and so some places the internet might drop out or whatever, so you might see one of us fall out. Even where I'm at, it's snowing this morning. Lost the internet already for some reason, so just kind of bear with us. This is a live event happening right now. It's 7 a.m. where I'm at here in Idaho. What we're going to do is we're just going to do a question and answer format. So I want to thank everybody for the introduction. I've got some questions actually from the Udemy studio, so I'll start with that. It looks like Diane's dropped out there, so and just move on down the line like we did last time. This one is from Hisham, and he's asking, what is your workflow for creating a course from idea to finished product? Let's say you have a technical topic. What would you include in scope and what would you leave out? And just kind of an idea of what the time spent on prepping. So, Grant, I'll have you start with that. And I'm not sure if Diane heard that, but I'll come back to her in just a moment. But why don't you go ahead and we'll have Grant start, and then we'll move back to Diane.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, obviously, it's kind of a long process, so I'll try and hit on some, not like the high points that I want to sort of focus on that I think maybe some people might miss, that might be most helpful. So first off, you're going to want to take a look at the actual marketplace of Udemy. So you don't want to just be like, oh, I have an idea, I'm just going to make the course. Like, that's kind of the wrong way to go about it. Like, you might have some general topic that you're very knowledgeable about. Like, for example, Phil's, like, you know, all kinds of video production and graphic design type stuff. Like, there's a million different directions to go with that, but one direction you probably should not go is just like, oh, I really want to make a course about something arbitrary, like how to animate cats, right? Like, not a good approach to go with. So instead, you want to find what currently exists on the marketplace, and also what's popular, what has a lot of supply already, and what it looks like people want, generally speaking, but also where are the gaps. So, for example, when I'm going to make make a new course for myself, I look at, so what are the general topics that are very successful, and actually video production tends to be one of them. Different technical topics about programming, how to make money online, different marketing things. There's a lot of different categories that are very, very, very popular and make a lot of money, but they're also pretty saturated if you try and go about them conventional ways. So what I try and do is take what I know and apply it in a way that hits one of those big circles of, like, very lucrative niches, but also does it in a different way. So, for example, I actually released a new course about 10 days ago, and it's kind of on the whole, like, start a business for yourself and travel the world type topic, which has actually been done to death in a particular way, but the way I'm doing it is actually quite different, and it kind of combines a couple different things, has a different pitch, and because of that, it's actually already doing really, really well. So you want to take that idea and make sure you apply it in the right way, and that's like a very, very, very important first step. From there, let's see, so from idea to finish, I make the content, some initial version of the content, I put it out there to my existing students, I get feedback on it, usually they have some helpful comments, I improve it from there. I try and always apply or include applicable, like, tools and, like, case studies and things like that, like real world stuff. From there, I don't know, go through the whole launch process. Like, there's a lot of different things you could talk about. But yeah, I think the main thing is to get feedback from your students to improve it, because, like, your first run at it, you'll probably not hit everything that you want to include. But actually, I think one of the things he said in his topic is what would he include and what would he leave out. So especially for a technical topic, I would say it really depends on the topic, but and also technical courses tend to be a bit different because, for example, there's a lot of like really in-depth, over-the-shoulder, screen-recorded programming type courses that are very, very, very long. But I'd say gear it towards a particular audience and think about like what do they know, what's their starting point, so that way you're not overwhelming them. For example, I was working with another instructor and they're making a course and it's learning how to program specifically by rebuilding some version of Instagram, like their kind of pitch on it, which is pretty cool. And the course is not released yet, by the way. And they sent me like their first content video, and it was fantastic. Like really well spoken, great sound quality. Like they had it really well organized, but they like went about it so fast. Like it was so intense that for me, and it was geared towards beginners. And for me, I don't know squat about programming, but they went through it. It was so intense, so quick. I got nothing out of it. I was like, whoa! I don't know anything about programming. This is too much. This is like above my head. And so you really want to relate that back to in terms of what you're going to include. Are you gearing something towards experts, like expert programmers who do that for a living, or are you trying to teach people how to program for the first time? And based on that, go way back and think about, how did you learn programming for the first time? Like, what would have been overwhelming to you? And from there, usually you can include less than what you're going to try and do. I find people tend to be overambitious. So yeah, those are just some different things off the top of my head.
We lost Dennis. Diane, do you want to just go ahead?
Sure.
From there?
I can say thank you. I'm happy to jump in. The course that I have on Udemy that's done the best is the one on how to watch American football. And it started from an American guy who said to me, I never played, but I'm missing out on networking opportunities. My core thing is networking. I haven't done a lot of courses on Udemy about it because, one, there's a fair amount up there. There's also just so much in the open space. But what this guy said to me was, he wanted to go to networking events, but so often they were talking about sports, particularly during this time when it's the playoffs and whatnot, and he didn't understand, and he was embarrassed. He says, I'm an American guy. And I grew up with a football dad. Every Saturday of my childhood was at the University of Colorado in Boulder at their football games, later on in Indiana. And so, I can't play the game, I can't call the game, but I can watch the game, and I can certainly participate in most conversations over a beer, even though I don't drink beer. But so part of what, sorry about that, Phil, I think is the one who cooks the beer. But I'll have a glass of wine with you. But so part of what I did was I just did this class. And about 2 years ago, I was on a plane, and the guy across the aisle from me was not doing real well with the turbulence. It was such a rough flight. Our hands went in the air. He grabs my hand across the aisle and starts holding my hand, and I just said, tell me what's taking you to Texas to distract him. And he said football, and I started telling him this story. Long story short, he was the athletic director of one of the local colleges. So I said to him after the flight, do you ever want to do this with me? We did it. We got on CBS News. We filmed it, and on a lark, truly on a lark, just 2 years ago, I just popped up the videos on Udemy. And after that, I think it was the week of Super Bowl 2 years ago, 970 people bought it in a week. So I would just simply say from courses, ask what people are saying. Will you tell me what you know? That's how my networking started. Somebody said to me, you're good at networking, and I was kind of insulted because I thought it was kind of that schmoozy type networking. And they said, no, you build relationships. You take care of people. You look out for them. You ask for help. You give help. Can you talk about how you do that? So I would just really say if there's a topic you're wanting to say is what are people asking you that you do, and they're asking you to share it. So then from there, there's a lot of other work involved.
Great.
I think we still lost
Thank
Dennis.
You. Those plane stories were, I don't know what it is about these guys that freak out over turbulence. I had kind of the same experience, and I just asked them to shut up, that you're freaking other people out.
Oh,
so,
he
Matt,
was quiet. He was
ahead.
praying. He was quiet. He had his head between his knees. I just felt so badly for him, and he's a very hot guy here in Boston, and so it was just kind of when I got on the plane, he looked like, am I supposed to know you? Are you a local celebrity? And I just didn't want to embarrass myself, like I don't know you, but I certainly had seen him.
Yeah. All right, Matt, your turn.
And exactly to Diane's point, I think people should teach things that they already know. So my first course on Udemy was selling on eBay. I started selling on eBay in 2006. So it's not just like coming up with an idea of something that you haven't already lived the life. You want to make sure that you've lived the life already. So applying those principles, because a lot of people are superior to you in some way. So I can learn so much things from these 4 instructors, and applying that principle, you can teach any skill to anyone, even if it's just a beginner's course. So, and people, I know in other countries, they might not even get the education that we do here. So that's just another thing, that you are superior to somebody in knowledge in some other way, even if it's just a beginner's course. So you want to make sure you've lived the life, that you can show proof that you've lived the life. And then to Grant's point, you could check Amazon Kindle, and you can see if people are already buying your course. So you can scroll down, and I know there's a section called Amazon Bestsellers Rank, and these are updated rankings of the best-selling books on Amazon. And you can see if your book's in like the top 20,000, if the course subject you're going to teach is in the top 20,000, that means you're selling at around 5 books per day or more. So you can see if there's already people buying your books in the subject you want to teach. And as for course creation, I think Udemy has a bunch of great video courses that would help you with what mic to choose, what webcam to do, and just the tools that you need in order to create a video course. And it's very low cost. Like, I have a $100 microphone, I bought a $100 webcam, and you can just kind of watch other people's courses and see the quality and kind of emulate what they're doing, whether it's like a PowerPoint presentation or just getting a green screen. You can buy a green screen for like $20 and a stand for like $30. So it's very low cost with the potential of you being able to make a lot of money. And I think that that's the best way to describe idea to production.
Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there that are very inexpensive. I have a Chromebook that I bought for under $300 in my last course. Everything that I did was on that Chromebook, and I used Microsoft Office that I pay $10 a month for, my microphone that I have here, $70 at Best Buy. So it's very affordable these days to put out courses, and somebody like Phil knows how to put out really good quality courses. So if you're someone that wants to spend a little bit more, then you certainly can. So we'll go ahead and continue with you, Phil.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And Matt, that's a great point about looking at Amazon to find topics and to kind of predict how well it would do as a course. So I think I kind of have a balanced approach from Grant and Matt and Diane's, all their sort of approach, but to kind of dive into a little bit of the nitty-gritty of how I actually, from course idea to creation. For me, it's all about outlining, and so starting out with like a solid outline of the course, and making sure that each topic flows in the right way, and that the advanced topics, you learn from beginning to end, and then going deep and in each lesson before you hit that record button, outlining that lesson topic or even scripting it. I think that's a good idea for beginners, because when you get on the mic for the first time, and I know I am at fault for this, and that's one of my biggest criticisms of my earlier courses is the endless rambling, or the pauses, the ums, the ers, the sort of not knowing the direction of what I'm talking about. And so really having a solid outline is important, or going out and scripting your entire lesson and recording it as a voiceover. I've kind of done both, and I actually like doing an outline, like a solid outline, better, because scripting I feel like can tend to be a little bit robotic, and outlining I can still fluctuate my tone a little bit better, but I would say work with whatever you works for you. And the only other advice I'd give for course creation and coming up with ideas is to not be afraid of doing courses that are already out there, even if it's the same exact topic. So for example, one of my first courses, it was like my third or fourth course, was about After Effects, which is a program that you use to create motion graphics and video effects. And there were already a few courses out on Udemy, and even a free course that was really in-depth and might have been more in-depth than I even wanted to go. But I had already started to sort of build up my own base of students with a couple other courses, and I decided I'm just going to create this course because I thought it was a great topic, I liked it, and I enjoyed it. And so I created it, and it's my second most successful course to date, and I have over 30 courses now. So I think you have to balance what Grant said about choosing a market or a course topic that you know potentially can make money, but also if the only reason is to make money from your courses, the product might not turn out as high as quality as if you're just picking a topic that you know you'll have fun teaching. And so that's why I teach about brewing beer and how baseball works and how to adopt a cat, because I know it's not going to make a lot of money, but it helps build the brand, and people enjoy the courses, and I have fun with it.
Yeah, I would agree that that's one of the things that I need to start doing, is more topics things that I enjoy doing rather than things that I normally do, like WordPress or a lot of the technical stuff. Thanks, Phil, for that answer. I appreciate it. And so we'll move on. We're about 15 minutes into our conversation today, and I've got another question from somebody in the Udemy studio, and I think it's a good question, is how do you set up your course to make sure that it's going to get approved? I actually just released my third course, and it didn't really take that long. It took less than a day to get it approved by Udemy, and there was just one thing. So just briefly kind of touch on some things that you think that it takes to ensure quick approval of a course. So we'll start with Diane, and then we'll move back again over to the right.
Well, my courses have been up there for so long that I would say that the most recent course that is almost up, we're in the approval process now. I was surprised at how much nitpicking was going on in this last round. They are definitely visiting some of, I don't know if it's a quality issue or if it's just a change in or whatever it might be, but I would just really go through and see how many people, go through their rules, go through their guidelines. I will say I think that they've got some really, really good videos and really good points to take. I found this last round just a little bit more overwhelming, but I don't know if it's because the first round was just, dumb luck, so who knows.
All right, so Grant, let's go ahead and hear from you on that.
Yeah, before I launch into that, actually, with Philip talking about the previous question, made me think of one thing I just wanted to add in real quick to the previous question, especially
Sure.
about scope of the class. Like, how do you know how much to include in a course? Just a real quick thought that when he was talking about outlining, which is fantastic, by the way, I had the same kind of issue with my very first course and not outlining it. You'll just end up rambling. But yeah, so if you're concerned about figuring out the scope of your course, one good way to figure that out is to have a very particular outcome in mind. If you're going to teach somebody up to a point that they can do X, it forces you to come up with a very clear idea about what they need to know. Exactly what they need to know and not a step beyond that, because otherwise it might be overwhelming. So if it's programming Instagram, then you'll automatically have that outline in your head, because you'll have to teach them everything they need to know, and that'll very clearly set that end point of what you need to include. So anyways, just a random point on that previous question. But to answer this current question, honestly, I don't think it's much of an issue once you make your first course, because again, I made my first course a decent while ago as well, and every single subsequent course I make, Udemy always has some kind of like, do this before we can approve it, but it's always something that I can usually fix within 5 minutes and then just resubmit it, and then it always gets approved the second time. It's never the first time, it's always the second time. I don't know why, that's just my experience, but and again, I don't remember exactly. I think actually I do remember that the first time was more, it took a little bit longer to get the first course approved, but in my experience, it seemed once the first course is up, you know, it's pretty much easy after that. And I don't remember exactly what I did for the first course, so I can't help there. But that's just been my experience. Sorry if that's not very helpful.
That's fine. Let's go ahead and we'll just move over to Phil real quick, and then Rob, I'm not sure if you've heard the question while you were gone. That the question was setting up your course to assure approval. So let's go with Phil, and then we'll get your thoughts on that real quick, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, so this is something that has changed over time, and since I've been on Udemy since October 2012, they've continuously improved the course review process and made it harder to get your course approved, which I think is a great thing for all of us because it means we have to make our courses better, and it just means that the content that the public sees on Udemy is better. And so just really quickly, the few things that I think you should keep in mind when you're creating a course is while you're creating your outline and your content, think about supplemental materials that you can add to your course. So that's like PDF guides, downloads, an ebook, just extra stuff that you can add to your video lessons because they're going to ask you to do that. And along with that, quizzes. So think about adding quizzes throughout your course. Those two things are things that Udemy always asks you to do and add to your course to make it better, and a lot of people don't utilize those things. But they've proven, they know the statistics that students like those things. They like when you give them supplemental materials, quizzes to test them how they're doing. So those are two things to keep in mind, and then just learn how to do high quality video and audio. And I think as we go further, courses that are just slides, PowerPoint slides, and a voice, those are going to be harder and harder to get through the approval process because there's just so many out there. And so think about ways to really take it to the next level, shooting on location with video and really demonstrating things on video rather than just a slide with bullet points.
Great. Thanks, Phil. All right, Rob on the small island.
Yeah, I haven't got too much to add to what Phil said because from what I can see, introductions and conclusions are really important. They're the sort of things I've been held up on during the approval process. In fact, I'm talking to a guy at Udemy who's helping me with my new course that's coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. And he actually showed me a Phil Ebiner course and said, do it like this. Because Phil had started every section and finished started every section with an introduction and finished every section with a conclusion. And these were to camera and 1 or 2 minutes. And at the end of every section, he'd put a quiz, and that was his Becoming a Freelancer course. Phil, you can help me with the title there. Those sort of things are really important nowadays to the approval process. And if I may, I'd like to give a point about the previous question about sorting out your course before having a plan of your course. Because I want to say that everyone gave a really good answer to that, but before they did anyway. I'm sure they did afterwards as well. But they were talking about planning out a course. Well, I have 2 types of course. One, the course I have to plan out, and the other one that has a logical plan to it anyway. Because and I don't know if this might be applicable to some of the people listening, but as a web designer, I did web design, and that I didn't have to plan it. I just did my job on screen, and because I was a content creator already, because I think it's quite important to create content regardless of Udemy, I think you should create free content on YouTube and a blog anyway, because that really helps you. Because I'd done all that, I could just roll it. I could just roll out the course because I had the structure and the ability to create the course already through my previously free content. So 2 questions in one there.
All right, thank you. Matt, you said that you wanted to jump in on this one.
Yeah, so when I was first creating my course, I was like nervous, so nervous that Udemy, like my course wouldn't be good enough that Udemy would approve it. So I just wanted to like clear the air if anyone's stressed out about getting their course approved. It's actually like pretty easy if you have a good quality audio, and it's just like that. It was my first time like creating something, and they approved it after the second time or the third time. So like Grant said, it's always that first time when they never approve it, and then it's just some quick fixes that you could do, and then Udemy will approve it. So I just wanted to say that like don't be stressed out. It's easier than you think. You don't have to spend like $1,000 on like a production. And actually, I've had a different experience from Phil since December 7th, since they started doing this new course approval process. I actually think it's gotten easier. I don't know if it's whether like I've built up a reputation on Udemy and they all kind of know that I make good quality courses or what, but I actually think that that it's gotten easier, at least in my experience. Obviously, people have had a different experience here.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you made. That I see that in the Udemy studio with a lot of new students or people who are just coming on board. They tend to freak out a little bit too much, and Udemy's got some good stuff in place, and I'll put some links later on after today's event that that is very readily available to new instructors on the whole process, on what to expect and how to put the course together and whatnot. So, Diane, you said that you had something that you wanted to talk about on outlines before we move on.
Yeah, just a quick thought. If people don't like the actual outlining process, I do a lot of mind mapping. And so I will start with the topic in the middle. I actually do this. I'll start out with a topic, and then I just kind of branch out what I want to do, and each of those has to answer the question, so what? Why does this chapter matter? What's this lecture going to answer? What's the point that the student is going to get? So I just find a lot of useful stuff with just the drawing. That's all I was going to say.
Okay, good. So those were some of the questions that I got from people in the Udemy studio. So now I just kind of want to move along with some of the questions that I had and some individual questions from each of the instructors that. So I'm going to start actually with Rob first, because I know that you recently earned $55,000 in income, which is awesome, and I know all of you have done very well in your own right. And the reason why I want to bring that up is because people always tend to come into the Udemy studio and kind of question when people out there like Alan Hill are posting earnings and stuff like that, but it's totally possible if you put forth the effort to earn a decent living on this platform. So, Rob, I think that you wanted to increase that to $100,000 a year. So what advice can you offer newbies that are coming on board that put them on the same path that you took?
Well, I set a target. I set targets every quarter, and I may or may not reach them, but it's something that I've written about on my blog a lot, because people really like the income reports, because it helps them. They can see where my money's coming from, because as you know, I do a lot of other things, not just Udemy, and so it shows them what's working and what isn't working, and they like it. And what I would say to people just starting out is just to persevere, because you've just got to keep going, really. and enjoy it. I really am a big believer in enjoying your work, because I actually enjoyed when I used to make $10 a month. You know, in a maybe it was an affiliate sale or something like that, and I enjoyed blogging. I enjoyed creating the content, and because of that, I found it easy to persevere. And so I would definitely just enjoy it. And as for if they don't believe or you know they don't like the income reports, you know, for some reason, you know, well, that's fine, but you don't have to read them if you don't want to.
All right, great, thanks. I appreciate that. And Phil, I know that you've been extremely successful. You had a book that you just recently put out about teaching online on Amazon.com, and I was poking around on Amazon last night and saw that you had another one on freelance writing. But one of the things that I've noticed about you, and especially because I kind of consider myself a social media expert, that's kind of where I got my start, is that you tend to shy away from social media, but you still do really well. So do you think that someone like yourself, might earn more money if you were active with social media, and why or why not?
Is that me, Dennis?
I think that question was
That's
to me.
you, Phil.
I'm the one that doesn't like social media.
Yeah.
I don't like it either.
I think,
you're on
yeah,
social
so,
media.
well, to easily answer your question, I think, yeah, if I love social media and really knew how to do it well, I think the potential of making more money is there for sure. And so it's just tough for me to want to post on Facebook and have a Twitter. I'm just very much more concerned, and I enjoy the course content creation process. So it's the course creation, putting stuff on YouTube. And so I think I'm going to try to look for new ways to build up social media, because I created a Facebook page for videoschoolonline.com, my brand, and I just kind of put it on the side, and it's started to get more likes now, and so it's got like over 500, which is like nothing, but I've started to see that more people are liking it now, and I think there is potential, and I think I want to just figure out ways to automate the process. So I already have posts that I post on my blog. They automatically post to Facebook. When I post to YouTube, they automatically post to Twitter. And so thinking of ways to automate it, but also add some personality. And it's just, you know, if I had more time, if I had all the time in the world, like I mentioned, I work a full-time job, 8 hours a day. And so I think that is unique to this Google Hangout, but not unique to most of the people watching this Hangout or that want to start teaching on Udemy. That it's a lot of people that are working and just want to do it on the side. And so after 40 hours a week, I spend about 10 hours a week creating video school online stuff, so courses and blog posts. But after those 50 hours, I don't want to go on Facebook. I want to hang out with my friends and family and my fiance. So someday I'll get onto the social media world and catch up to the rest of you.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good point. It's a fine balance, because I find myself sometimes like, you know, I've got a tablet here and I hear it going off with somebody messaging me on Facebook, and I'm just like,
I'm sure that was a great point.
So
we lost you, Dennis.
There you go.
Sorry. I'm going to blame it on the weather here. So, are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. You're good now.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was just talking about that it is easy to automate the process to have it not consume so much of your time, and just the ability to do other things, like you said, spend actual quality time with your friends and family, and for you, focusing on your course, because that's what we have to do. We have to build courses, so it's a fine balance on that. So let's go ahead, and we'll move on to a question for Matt, if you're able to still hear me. If you can't hear me, start waving your arms or something like that. Matt, tell us about the importance of refreshing current courses that you kind of produced maybe 6 months or a year ago. Why is it important? Current?
Well, it's most importantly when you're first starting out, you don't necessarily know how to become an effective instructor. You're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. So for my first course, I was kind of like shy and sick a little bit, so I didn't have much of like a character. I was almost a little bit boring to listen to. And then my second course, I was like pumped up and excited, and I had character, and I was loud and maybe a little bit too loud, and I was almost yelling at the students. And then the third course that I did was like a good medium where I had the character, like people would get to know me, like who I was, my unique thing about, you know, low cost hustle, finding ways to make money with low upfront costs, and then you'll just learn so much in a year. And I think Phil had like a great thing. He made 30 courses, and I think the most important way, if you want to improve your courses, the best way is just make them, because with that experience of just making as many courses as possible, you'll get the experience of, you know, okay, like you'll look back to your first course. What did I do wrong? How can I improve? And then you'll do that with your second course. How can I improve my second course? And then all the way up until 30. So I bet Phil has learned so much. I've made 14 courses, and I've helped my friend make an additional 11. And I've learned so much. And to Grant's point, you'll get a ton of student feedback with your course. So when you make your initial course, usually I make mine between 2 to 3 hours. And I'll get so much student feedback about, oh, like, hey, where's this lecture? I want to learn, like, you're missing this for my Selling on eBay course. And then you just make a lecture. So now, when I first started out in January, my course is about 2-3 hours long. Now here, I've added so many lectures that it's 7 hours long. So you want to continuously improve, add lectures, and then improving the quality of the course. So a year ago, I never thought I'd get in front of a webcam and record a video of me, and then I'd have like subtitles on the bottom. I never thought I'd have the confidence to do that. But now after a year, I've built up enough confidence, and I bought a webcam and a green screen, and I'm about to refilm all of my eBay courses. So just having the experience of being on Udemy for a year, you'll learn so much, and that's why you should really update your courses, because Udemy will tell you things too. Like if you're on the studio and now they have the Udemy Teach, they'll tell you, like, okay, are you getting to the meat of the course soon enough? Are you diving deep enough into your subjects? And Udemy wants to go in the direction as well, at least with your introduction, they want you to actually film in front of a webcam. And none of my courses right now, I'm in front of a webcam. So I'm using all of the tools that I have access to and going in and improving the course, and hopefully more people will watch them and learn what I have to teach.
I think you cut out there at the last moment.
I'm done talking, sorry.
That was weird. Oh boy, technology. And Grant, I see that you're back with us, so this next question is for you. What one thing can a new instructor do to see immediate revenue? Were you able to hear that?
No.
Immediate something.
No? What one thing? I need to learn sign language. So what is one thing that a new instructor can do that would have an immediate benefit to their course revenue?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess they mean once they already have their course. That's how I'll answer this. So there's a lot of things you can do. I'd say the biggest things you can do to expand your revenue is, well, one, as I think Matt said, and some other people have talked about, is make actual go ahead and make a second course. It'll make your first course better, and then it'll give you the ability to do cross promotions, which are very, very effective. That's a huge one. So like expanding and having more than one course is exponentially better than so 2 courses is exponentially better than 1 course. It's not twice as good as 1 course. It's like 4 times as good. It's not linear. So beyond that, I'd say there's a good chance you probably didn't get for your very first course the way you first put it up. There's a very, very, very good chance it's not very well optimized in terms of like the title, the course description, just the overall pitch. There's a good chance you probably didn't do that very well. Like I know really successful instructors who still have some pretty crappy course descriptions up on their courses that could do a lot better. So that's a really main thing to go back and look at. And specifically, a lot of people don't realize this, but you can install Google Analytics on your courses and look at the conversion rate of your course. That's really, really, really important because that's kind of what's going to determine whether Udemy is going to be able to run advertisements for your course, right? They're going to pick the ones that are converting well. So if you have a high conversion rate for your course, all of a sudden they're able to run Facebook ads for your course. If it has a low conversion rate, they just can't. It won't be profitable for them. So, installing that, checking out what your conversion rate is, going back and thinking about who you're targeting, how can you make that a better marketing message, how can you improve like the keywords in your title, how can you redo all that. It can make a very, very, very dramatic, very fast difference. I think I told this story on the last webinar, which is my very, very first course. Didn't really make any money for like the first 3 months. And then I did that. I took a second look because I put it up there. I didn't look at those things since then. Until 3 months later, I looked at all that stuff and I was like, I don't think the way I'm pitching this is going to resonate with this audience, and I'm just realizing that now. I think if I'm not changing the content at all. I think if I change the sort of the pitch of what the course is about, frame it in a different way, even though the content's the same, and it applies both ways, it's just kind of reframing how you're talking about it, reframing that discussion in the course description and the title. That made a huge difference, and it was an immediate jump in revenue the next month. And from there, it's been up and up and up, and it was a very distinctive difference before and after in that situation. So, so making multiple courses and understanding how cross promotions work, just really optimizing your courses and really taking advantage of the different things you can do, whether that's, like somebody said, adding supplementary material, that's huge, having variety of types of lectures, whether it's an over-the-shoulder walkthrough or like screencasting or webcam or whatever. Also, I don't know, just basically take advantage of everything you can on the Udemy platform and measure it and improve your conversion rate as much as possible. And that's probably the quickest thing you can do that will always, always serve you well. Even if you already do pretty well, you can always do better using that approach.
Yeah, yeah. And you got some good points on cross promotion, and I've got some stuff that I bookmarked, and they've got some information on how to do cross promotions, so I will put that out there so that instructors who aren't familiar with it, that will give you some more information on that. Let's go ahead and we'll move on to Diane. I've got a couple of questions that I'll ask you. First off, I know that you do, and I know that people like...
You're not coming through.
No?
Yeah, do you want to chat?
Wow. Am I coming through now?
Right now you're good.
Like the Verizon guy, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you right now.
All right. So what I want to know is that you do public speaking, and people like Rob and Phil tie there to kind of what they do on Udemy. Am I cutting out again?
A little bit. I think your question is, how do I connect my public speaking with Udemy?
Yes, your public speaking. So what you do, how do you connect it to what you do on Udemy?
I haven't done a lot of it right now, to tell you the truth. Part of it is because my topic is networking, and I do feel like there's an abundance of that already on Udemy. But what I do find is that as I'm doing public speaking, I had 160 people in my class yesterday, or Monday and Tuesday in Atlanta. It was a bunch of bankers. They were all talking football. So I was like, oh, by the way, and you never know who in there doesn't understand football. I have not spent the time that you guys on this team have spent looking for topics. My speaking business, frankly, is big enough that I can do well enough on that I'm trying to have the Udemy be supplemental, not my primary source of income. I'm a little bit more like Phil, where I have, you know, another job, another life that is pretty significant. And also I write books and I blog on LinkedIn. So there's just a fair amount of other moving parts. What I'm hoping to do with Udemy is to get enough of it up and running so that it can be passive income, not my primary income. I mean, if it's big, that's great, but I probably don't see myself giving up the speaking anytime too soon.
Great, thank you. So, how long, Diane?
I didn't hear that. Dennis, I didn't hear it. Sorry. Lost, yeah.
Yeah, Dennis, you might want to type it in so we can see it instead of
hearing it. Dennis, do you want to just type it in?
Well, I was just wondering.
Well, Udemy recruited me, so Udemy found me online as an expert on networking, and gosh, I think I've been on there 3 years, maybe 4 years, and for a while, and the students might be interested, or the people on this webinar might be interested in this, is in the beginning, they pitched me heavily. They wanted me to instruct. I spent so much time putting together my very first course, and then they sent me a note saying, "Great, now we'll launch it once you get 20 people." And until I had 20 people, they wouldn't launch it. And needless to say, that was not a happy moment. I was actually in San Francisco, went to their offices, and had a good conversation with them, because I said that was just crazy for someone to do all that work and then not really get any support. So I think they've changed a lot in that. So I have been a little bit more reticent after that experience of going through a lot of work to get a course up there, and then only to find that they weren't going to do any marketing unless I had a certain amount. I sent it to my newsletter list. I have a huge newsletter list. Udemy got a whole lot of new clients out of it, and it was just, you know, I think they learned their lesson on that.
Yeah, yeah.
It was fun to be headhunted, but, you know.
I think you can hear me because the camera's coming back to me. So, so Grant, what are some of the tools that you use, like specifically, have some that you can share with other instructors?
Who was that question for?
For you. Did you hear the question?
Yeah, yeah. It was about tools to create the course. Was that it? Or?
Yeah, that was the question. What tools you use?
Yeah. So, okay. I mean, I keep it pretty simple. Like, people are talking about $100 mics and $100 webcams. My first course, I made a pretty ghetto film studio. I think I had one of those tripods in the back behind, although it's probably a cheaper version. I put it together for about $100. Yeah, you can get background paper very, very cheap, and, you know, put up some Home Depot lights, and if you do it right, it looks pretty good. I filmed with iPhones. Actually, my first course is filmed with 2 iPhones, and people kept telling me how professional it looked. It was pretty sweet. It was hilarious, actually. So it doesn't have to be too complicated. You don't need any special tools, honestly. This last course I put out, again, within the past 10 days. For this one, I'm doing mostly screencasting, and I'm also doing some interviews where I'm just using my MacBook Air webcam for Skype calls, and then also recording for in-person interviews. And I have one mic that I actually got for free from a friend. It looks like it probably cost about $10. It actually has quite good audio. So it's really, really, you know, simple. I use actually QuickTime, which comes native on MacBooks, I believe, has a native you know, screencasting ability that you can just do that. You know, I try not to make it complicated nowadays. But if you want to do something more high-end and higher production, again, you can just kind of go by Home Depot and ghetto rig some lights and buy a $20 background paper, and it still looks really, really good. So I think maybe what's a better version of this question maybe is how do I set up my workflow to be very efficient, to like quickly make my courses, because it's not really related to the tools I use. One of the things that people have been talking about, which is a really good point, is outlining is very, 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 very helpful. So for me, I guess I start from, I've got the general topic idea, and I want to get people to a certain point to accomplish a certain goal. And then I outline, okay, what did if I start from scratch myself, if I knew nothing, what are the sequence of steps, the sequence of things that I have to know to get to that end goal, that end result, the end outcome that the person's essentially buying when they buy the product. And then I outline that out very, very clearly. Yeah, and then if it's gonna be screencasting, I make the slides, and then from there, I agree, having a very clear outline is very, very helpful, because otherwise you will 100% end up rambling. I made that mistake on one of my courses. But yeah, and then just pump it out, and just sit there and make sure your environment's good, so the audio is going to be good. Audio is huge in courses. You can get away with semi-decent video, or even just recording your screen sometimes. But if your audio is bad, that's it's not redeemable and you can't really fix it very well. So yeah, and then just go from there, pump it out, and for example, I think one of the questions that's on the list is rapid course creation, and I actually made my second course in 48 hours, just as like a test, because my first course took a long time, and I wanted to make my second course as fast as possible. So I made it and launched it and edited it. I edited the videos myself, even though I didn't actually know how to edit videos, and did the whole thing in 48 hours, just like to see if I could and see how that would go. And it actually did really, really well. And given the amount of time I spent on it, the amount it's made is like a ridiculous ROI. So if you set yourself up and do the work before you actually launch into things, and you have a very clear process about how you're going to launch it once it's up. So script out everything and make it very mechanical, like point A, point B, point C, to actually make the content, and then like as soon as it's done, point A, point B, point C to actually launch it. And if everything's very well scripted, you'll do a really good job of doing it in a very reasonable amount of time.
Great, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Kind of. I don't know what's going on over here. I'm going to move to another state. So Grant, question that I was going to ask next. So since I'm not Rob, for some reason, looks like he might have dropped off. We'll move on over to Phil, and we'll talk about rapid. Do you have any suggestions on that, or anything that you'd like to comment on that, Phil?
Yeah. So the question was about rapid course creation, right?
Yes.
Yep, but there's some feedback, Phil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird. Still getting feedback. Well, I'll go forward.
You're good.
So I think it's something to be very careful about. I think doing an experiment, and as long as you can make sure that your course is high enough quality, creating quick courses is great. And I mean, I've done that. I've created, I guess I'm on my 34th course now, and I've been on Udemy for just over 2 years. So it's about, it's over a course every month that I've been creating. But I've really slowed down lately, just because I have been putting a lot more time into higher quality courses. So, for example, just this past weekend, I was out on a shoot where we were going to locations all around the San Francisco area for a new photography course. We have a studio set up, and so that's my way of taking it to the next level. But yeah, so I would just be careful with it. But I think, like, if you're like Grant, or someone who has experience creating a course or a few courses, you can take the same techniques of creating an outline, recording, publishing, and just sit down and do it in a weekend. And I know Matt has done that a lot, creating a lot of great courses. So just for me, it's always about going back to why are you doing this, and if you're doing rapid course production to just create more content, create more courses to make more money, then the end product's not going to be as great as if you're your reason is just, I love creating courses and I am having so much fun that I want to create courses as fast as possible. And so what is your end goal? And if it's just to make more money, then creating as many courses as you can. I believe the quality of the course isn't going to be as great.
Good. Thank you. Matt, let's move to you because that's something I know that you've talked with me, trying to get me to create courses rapidly. But go ahead and let us know your thoughts.
Yeah, so, well, thank you, Phil, number one. And also to Phil's point is I like to focus on good quality information first above all. So when you start with that, and then you also have good quality audio. And the thing that saves a lot of time for me is I kind of slack on like the production value. So I don't have like this great production where like an intro, like you know how like TV shows will have like this intro with like music and everything. I don't have that. Most of my courses just either have like one slide on it, and I just kind of narrate it, giving the student good information, and it just saves a lot of time if you really want to create a course rapidly. But what Phil was saying, you know, focus on the high quality information, high quality audio, and then I kind of just let the rest slip away. But that's what I'm talking about, improving your courses, because okay, now I have the feedback on the information. I know a lot more about Udemy and how to create great quality courses. So now I'm going in and improving all the courses and making a great high quality production for the visuals. So I think that that's also what you should add in there. Like I'm sure when Grant created his course in two days, like he's not necessarily done. Like he just has that base. He's probably going to add more lectures. He's probably going to go in later and improve his visual quality, maybe in a year, but he just focuses on, as I do, you know, the information and the audio. And that's kind of another way to do everything too. When I wanted Dennis to create a course, like I created an artificial timeline for him. So, like, if you want to create and publish your course on Udemy, try to set like an artificial timeline. So, like in 2 weeks. And then you'll start asking yourself, what are the most important things that I need to put in my course in order for me to reach my deadline? So you'll find yourself, so with my, let's just say my Udemy course, I wanted to teach, you needed to just teach every single thing of how I was able to make $2,000 a month on Udemy. So if it didn't fall in to answer that question, how can other students make $2,000 a month on Udemy? Then I just left it out of the course if it did not answer the question. And you'll find yourself when you ask yourself all these other questions. I want to share my screen for a second about how you can you know, be more productive, and as opposed to trying to like stop yourself from procrastinating. So let me just share my screen real quick.
All right, here's the first. Let's see if this works.
So your overall thing about creating a course can be very, very overwhelming. So what I want to do is like take it step by step, take it day by day. And I know Phil was mentioning about his creating like a course overview of your course. So what I do is basically I wake up an hour before I have to go to work, and I sit down with a glass of water on your computer, or you could do like a pen and paper, and you type in 3 to 5 things that are making you the most anxious and uncomfortable. So for instance, this could be the most important lectures that you want to add into your course to be able to reach that overall goal of, for instance, for me, teaching other people how to make money on Udemy. So you write down 3 to 5 things that are most on your mind. And then the next thing would be, if this is the only thing I accomplished today, will I be satisfied? So with the 3 to 5 things, you want to pick the one most important thing that's making you the most anxious. So for instance, I wanted to create a course about how to, sorry, there's some feedback, so it's kind of like getting me off my mojo, but how to create a Udemy course and also how to create a WordPress blog. So to market your Udemy courses. So the WordPress course would have all the other courses about, about all the lectures about how to create your courses, how to market them on social media and on your own blog with email marketing and all this other stuff. So I might have like a to-do to create the Udemy course and the WordPress course. So it would be, if I just created the WordPress course that would have all the lectures and information as that Udemy course would have, it would be more beneficial for me to just attack the WordPress blog course. So it's like you wanna it's not how many hours you put into it. I'm basically trying to say it's doing the right things and making sure that you're focusing in on being productive and doing the right things in order for you to be successful. And these are just the ways that you could do it by typing in the things that make you most anxious, making sure that one thing is just the best thing that you should do today. And then when you figure that out, figuring out that this you think at the time is you doing the right thing, block out 2 to 3 hours worth and avoid distractions. Like I mean, like just block out every single thing for 2 to 3 hours and just do it. Do what is most important at that. Do the one most important thing. And I think that also it's very. I can get to the not to do list, I guess, later because I don't know how many more questions I have. So I'll just stop the screencast and we can go on to the next question. I know I was kind of rambling there, but.
That's okay. I know that there's some good points in there, and I need to actually open that in the morning when I get up and have my coffee, because I think that that's a great way for anyone to start their day, is just kind of looking at what your goals are for the day or general, not only with Udemy but everything that we do. I have to remember that I have certain goals that I want for the month as well as the day. So we've got about 20 more. I wanted to move over to Diane, and I think that she had something that she wanted to talk about first, and talk about also rapid course creation. Did that come through?
Well, I just wanted to make a quick mention, as Grant was talking about rapid course.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Grant. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Let's go back to Grant so that he could continue with his thought that he had, and then we'll move over to you, Diane. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Yeah, just one quick thing, clarifying point. By the way, I think we're getting a lot of feedback. I think if everybody mutes their mic when they're not talking, I think it might help with that. Maybe something to try. Anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to clarify, because the things I've been talking about so far, just by the nature of the questions, and I don't know, just kind of going off in the random direction of, how to make the most money, how to make courses as quick as possible, and Phil and, some other people have been talking about like making really good quality courses, and I just wanted to clarify that I'm in no way advocating making really crappy courses. Actually, Matt's right. The course I made very, very quickly, that was just a test to see if I could, just to get it up and running, to break down low barriers. And just kind of take the initial steps, and then go back and fix and course correct along the way, right? No pun intended. But so I kind of give the advice of going as fast as possible and doing things to target your courses to make the most money for very particular reasons. So you want to be able to make this as easy as possible for yourself. I'm going to guess that most people listening right now have not actually made a course yet. There's a good chance that you just haven't gotten that far yet. And one of the main reasons I find that people are in this situation where they haven't quite gotten there yet is often not because they can't make good courses, right? If you stick with it, you can figure out how to make a good course. You can figure out the whole video thing. You can record it enough times so it turns out good. Actually, a lot of times people kind of go too far trying to invest in making the perfect course. And in reality, for your first course, it's not going to be perfect. And oftentimes, forcing yourself, setting those deadlines to pump it out as quickly as possible is actually the best way to go. And then from there, you can figure out how to make your next course better. You can figure out how to actually fix your first course, because again, you'll have that additional information to do better then. So that's why I kind of advocate that going fast is actually very, very effective. Although I do advocate very, very high-end courses that really serve people and that provide a lot of value. Like some of the feedback I get for some of my courses about like the way they've like changed people's lives and just like all these ridiculous inspirational messages has been fantastic. And you know, the only way to get that is to actually make a very, very good, high quality course. And then in terms of targeting topics that are going to make a lot of money, that's just an easy way of saying reaching the most people, right? The more people you're going to reach is directly proportional to how much money you make, which is directly proportional to how much time you can invest in making more courses and then helping more people, right? It's a circle. So at the end of the day, it's all kind of related, and the quality of your courses and how effective you are at spreading those courses will help you help more people and will also make you more money. And so it's all kind of related. And I just want to clarify that I'm not just like, money, crappy courses, and you know, hacking Udemy or something. So it's very important to provide a lot of value to people at the end of the day.
All right, great. Thank you. Hopefully you can hear me. Anne, your turn. So go back to your point that I think you had something on, it looked like return on investment that you wanted to.
Yeah, just to piggyback a little bit on Grant's comment, you know, there's a lot of conversation in the studio and where not about money and profits and whatnot. I don't want to work for free. And so, you know, if Grant's going to do something for 48 hours, I want him to get a good ROI on it, because 48 hours is a lot of time. And in 48 hours, what else can I do with that time? Can I give a speech? Can I reach out to somebody who's going to, you know, give me a good opportunity to do something like I did the last 2 days and really impact lives in an in-person way? So there's a lot of conversation in the studio about money and profit. I just think it's a really important thing to step back and say we should all value our time, we should all value our energy, and the ROI means just, you know, X number of sales. If you put in 48 hours and pay yourself $5 an hour, that's your profit. So I get concerned sometimes with this big conversation about how much money people are making. A big part of the reason why I like to do this is, frankly, it's a different channel for me to share my knowledge. And I'm a fourth generation teacher. I love sharing my knowledge, and I think it's a fun thing to do. It's a rewarding thing to do. I work with a lot of introverts, and one of the things that comes up over and over again when I work with introverts is they have no idea that they can possibly be good at networking. And I explain to them, yes, you can be. You're a good listener. Here's some tips that you can do. Here's breathing techniques. Walk into the room before anybody else is in there, then people go into your space. I learned that from a football player. And so part of it is just, it's a different way for me to share my knowledge. Obviously, we all need to have an income, but I just think there should be some just kind of perspective on, you know, what all of that's about. So just that's my little on the ROI, and just be sure we pay ourselves.
Can I just jump in and say I loved your tip right there on networking for introverts, because like I'm actually very introverted. I used to be horribly shy and like anxious in social situations. I know exactly what you're referring to. I do that exact like process of things. It works exceedingly well. So come to Diane for introvert networking. She sounds like she hits it right on the mark.
Thank you, Grant. Dennis, we lost you. Type.
See what happens when I put myself on mute because of Grant's advice? I was laughing because he's saying that he's shy, and all I'm thinking about is the photos in Thailand on his Facebook page. So Thailand's corrected that for him.
Not Thailand. Actually, there's lots of public speaking and like having to pitch investors and all that stuff. Like that'll cure your shyness pretty quick when you have to.
I didn't say what the photos were. He's just having a good time, enjoying life over there. So nothing wrong with that. And I think that that's an important point to make. That a lot. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day about you know, we feel like all we do is create courses or whatever, and we have to go out and enjoy other things in life. I don't go to Thailand, but I went to Sun Valley, Idaho for Thanksgiving to get away from the computer for a while. So we've got about 10 minutes left. Am I still coming in all right?
Yep.
You're fine.
So Rob has rejoined us, and Rob, we were talking about rapid course creation, not rapid horse creation. but rapid course creation. So I'll let you touch on that, and then we'll just kind of finish things off by just letting people know where they can reach us at online, okay? Did you get that, Rob?
Yeah, I muted myself, but can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
You mean the course rapidly?
Yes, you're dropping off just a bit again, but just talk about like ways to create courses rapidly if you've got some tips on that. I think we're losing him again.
Earlier. Can you hear me?
You're going in and out a little bit, Rob.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, my method is to spend
I think we're still having some issues with your audio.
Just go to robcubbon.com.
Are you able to hear me? Yeah, that's a good idea. You can find out everything about Rob on his website, robcubbon.com. Rob, I don't know if you can hear me, but let's go ahead and... So he might be dropping off.
Unfortunately for Rob right now, his connection's not doing so great, but so I just thought I would give a little shout out to him. When I first started out on Udemy, I watched one of Rob's courses and I just thought that this guy was a legend and I looked so much up to him. So go to robcubbon.com and he's got a lot of great information that you can learn from, and he's awesome. So
I'll ditto that.
All right.
Super nice.
So let's go ahead and wrap things up. I remember that at the beginning that I didn't let people know a little bit about myself on who I am. Sometimes you forget that stuff when you have it in front of you. So you can find me online at dennisjsmith.com, and you can find me in the studio and on my group, the Udemy Marketing and Promotion Hangout group on Facebook, which we just at 1,000 members today, so come and join us there for talking mostly about marketing. My frustration with the groups on Udemy is there's too many free coupons, discount coupons, and not enough on learning about Udemy, and so I'm trying to keep the focus on the group and these Hangouts on learning more about the website. So online, I do social media, and I've started going onto Udemy with stuff that I've learned in July. Put out my third course, which is on how to maximize profits on, and I have an ebook out, and I know there's a lot of courses out there like that, but Grant was talking about that earlier, is that if you kind of take your course and you take a niche within that topic, that there's still a lot of potential. So mine is a little bit different than everything else that is out there. So Diane, with that, let us know again where we can find you online and on Udemy.
DianeDarling.com is probably the easiest one, just my name. Diane with one N and Darling like sweetheart.
Okay. And Grant?
Yeah, so I put up a URL I just made this morning, grantworley.com/coupons. So I made some custom coupons today for this webinar for all of my courses, at least all the ones I like. And actually, including the one I made within the past 10 days, that's been good. That's been getting great reviews. It's got great traction so far. It's basically how you can start working for yourself in the easiest way possible, in a way that frees you up to travel the world, because that's what I've been doing for some time now. Kind of what Dennis was alluding to, and actually the way he talks about it sounds like I do porn or something. So I think I should clarify, because he keeps talking about my Facebook pictures. Actually, he's talking about how frees your time up to do what you want. That's very, very true. I still invest a lot of time in work. Actually, since I'm in Asia, I'm doing professional modeling and acting, just kind of for fun, randomly. And so I post it on Facebook, and then people make fun of me for it, but it's still fun. And so yeah, that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of you. I think it's great that you do that. I mean, I definitely, I'm not a shy person, but I wouldn't myself. You won't find me doing that because I'm a little bit older now. So. So,
yeah,
Matt,
much for an introvert. I'd consider myself an extrovert, and I wouldn't do the stuff that Grant's doing, showing my body like that, modeling. It takes a lot of confidence. I don't know. It's awesome. No, it's awesome, man.
Then.
Oh boy.
You could reach me at udemy.com /Matt Bernstein. You can message me on there. I have a course about how to teach online and how to use your time valuably and make money doing it and adding value to people's lives. So I can give you a $10 coupon for that. I'm trying to focus on Udemy, so I don't have a website right now. So I'm just 100% focused in on Udemy and adding the most value I can to Udemy students exclusively right now.
Yeah, you've got some great stuff out there. I think I was telling you that yours was one of the first courses that I went and paid for, as far as instead of like using a free coupon. And Phil has some awesome courses out there, one that I've taken and downloaded his book, so make sure that you find his stuff on there. And go ahead and tell us where we can find you, Phil.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here. You can find me located at videoschoolonline.com. That's where I blog. I do a weekly blog and post a lot of free YouTube videos, and you can also get links to all my courses there. And you see a link down below. I created this especially for all the viewers here. It's 80% off my Teach Online course, and that's a course where I created a year and a half ago or so about teaching on Udemy, but I've been updating it a lot. And you can also find my income reports on there. So each month I post my income, and I think November was my biggest month, past $15,000 in a month of online income. So check it out there. But I just wanted to make a quick point so I think my last point is that Grant and Matt had some great ideas about setting deadlines and just not being a perfectionist about creating a course. And that's like the biggest thing that I could say for those of you out there is just do it. Put the pedal to the metal, set a deadline, and just try it. And if it's not perfect the first time, that's totally fine. And you just improve with the next course, and you can always go back, like Matt said, and improve your previous courses. But yeah, so videoschoolonline.com.
Great, thank you. I love the graphic there at the bottom. I still kind of frustrated that mine didn't work and Matt's didn't work, but hey, there's always next time. So, so you went ahead, and I was going to ask everyone for a final point because we still have a few minutes. So, Matt, go ahead. A final point that you have.
You know what? Just dive in and do it. And I'll quote Tim Ferriss again: "Just throw yourself in, act as if, and adjust course along the way." And I think it's just a very simple thing, a simple way of saying what we've all been saying throughout this whole webinar. And as for course creation, Udemy has some great free courses that run about 2 hours long. So it's very difficult for us to kind of say what we have to say on that in such a short amount of time. And I just think keep learning and actually just go out and make the course and get some experience actually making a course instead of just listening to us, because there's only so much advice you can get. So at least for those who are kind of scared to jump in and create their own course, just do it and just see how it goes and just try your best and do the right things.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on here. I had so much fun. It's been a blast.
Thank you. I always appreciate your thoughts and all of that. You've been a tremendous help to me as not only an instructor but a friend too. Grant.
Yeah, thanks as well for having me on. Hopefully, I've been able to give some advice that people can use. I'd say, first off, totally agree with what Matt said. Just go out and do it. It's the biggest thing. Beyond that, I guess I'll add that it's actually relatively formulaic. So I've created several courses myself. I've worked with at least a dozen other instructors personally launching their courses in a wide variety of topics. So I've seen kind of how the platform works as a whole. And it's really surprising the kind of consistency of if you do the right things, you'll succeed. So there's a lot that goes into that. There's so many different variables. But once you get a feel for the platform as a whole, how it works, you can have confidence that you'll be successful. And yeah, it's just something that's really important to know going into it, because I know a lot of people, they try it and they don't really succeed, and they're not really sure why, and they kind of give up. And so the important thing is to understand that there's a way to succeed. If you're not succeeding yet, that means you're probably missing something if it figures something out. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to hit the ground running as fast as possible, because that's usually the best way to figure things out, right? But again, once you get to that point, you can very consistently launch courses, and then you've got a couple courses, you got a couple thousand students you can market your next course to, and it gets easier each time. Like I said, I launched a course within the past 10 days, and it's already made $1,500, and it's all organic sales, one promotional email to two of my courses, and boom, $1,500. Like, that's amazing to me. I would not have imagined that was possible a year ago. But it's kind of a momentum that you build slowly, and that's why most of the people who hear from us, we've all been working at this for at least a year. So yeah, take heart, get started, keep at it, and you'll succeed.
That's awesome. So you'll be flying us all over to Thailand pretty soon.
One ticket. They're expensive.
one ticket. Somebody's going in the luggage. Diane, I want to thank you for joining us today. I know that this is your first hangout with the group, and also Phil. So go ahead and your final thoughts.
I'll just say thank you for adding some estrogen.
I have my mom here at home, but she's gone.
Good to see a little bit of a mix. I mean, we are 50% of the market, so you want to be sure you're thinking about who's buying. So yeah, no, thank you so much for including me. I would say the one thing that I would say is ask 10 to 15 people what you're good at, and then do a course about that. It's very easy for us to get in our own heads. I think we know what we're good at. If somebody had said to me, you're good at networking, I would have not thought I was good at networking. But apparently I was, and because I've been in business now 10, 12 years, and I've been in the Wall Street Journal multiple times. I've got 3 books with McGraw-Hill. So other people have seen skills in me that I didn't know I had. So don't be shy about asking other people what you should teach.
Good. Okay, so sorry here, I was bringing something up here for the closing thoughts. So I just want to remind everyone, again, you can find me at dennisjsmith.com. You can find the Udemy group, Udemy Course Marketing and Promotion Hangout. And I look forward to hosting a hangout again, probably in another couple of months, and it might be some of the same people or a different mixture of people. If you learned something today, I want you to connect with the individuals that were on today's webinar and let them know that you appreciate what they're doing as far as sharing valuable information to help you become better at what you do. And also, if you see them in the studio, just give them a shout out. I'll be posting the replay of today's hangout. You're welcome to share that on social media such as Facebook and Twitter. And if you're doing a blog post or whatnot, make sure that you share this out there by either embedding the video or just giving us a shout out. So it's been a pleasure joining you guys today, and that's it. Everybody have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.